Uh-oh,
Oops.
hold on. All right. I think we accidentally hit someone accidentally hit that early. So just an FYI to everyone that we have started the broadcast and but we have not yet started the meeting. So this is recording. And Grace, if I hit stop recording, will it pause?
No, there really isn't a way to stop the broadcast. It just starts recording when you hit that button. At this time, we're recording and we're live.
All right, we'll go with the flow then. Let me see.
Want me to say my intro? Hi, Zach.
Not yet. Let's wait until we have a quorum. But because we still have. So Zach, just FYI, we have. I think I accidentally hit the start recording button. So the broadcast has started, and so everyone, this is recording, and attendees have been brought right into the meeting. So just an FYI. And we have Kristen. So Susan, Brian, and I think Zach is here too off camera. Kristen is our new recording secretary. So she's going to be doing our minutes for us. We are really excited to have her.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. Yeah.
So Kristen will be off screen, but she is here and listening, and she has a great deal of experience with this. She takes minutes for a number of other communities in both Massachusetts and New Hampshire, right, Kristen?
Yep, Somerville is number 9, I believe.
Wow. Well, pretty soon in your heart of hearts will be number 1.
That's what I hope for.
So Kristen Susan is the chair, and both our vice chair and clerk are absent this evening. But one of our members will be an acting clerk. So.
Emily, did you say both the vice chair and the clerk are absent?
Yes, Ann Brockelman and Catherine Garavaglia cannot be here tonight. We do still have a quorum. As long as we have 4 voting members, that's a quorum. So
we're waiting for Ann.
And
she still has a minute. And once Ann gets here, we will start the meeting, and Susan, you'll be able to do your spiel. And for our members of the public who are here, we started the meeting a bit early, but by accident, the meeting has not yet been called to order. We will call the meeting to order once all of our members are here who will be attending this evening. It should be in the next few minutes. So till then, hang tight.
we're going to have our applicants FaceTime tonight.
Yep, they'll be here. And, all right, I think I see Ann joining us.
Hi guys, sorry, my husband's running late.
Hi,
No
Ann.
problem.
Welcome.
So Ann, just FYI, we're already live. I hit the button early by accident and I do not know how to go back on that.
All right.
So we haven't called the meeting to order yet. But just wanted to let you know, I think we have everyone here. And I also wanted to introduce you to Kristen Patna. She is our new recording secretary. So she's going to be taking minutes for ZBA, Planning Board, Urban Design Commission, and Historic Commission.
Hi, Kristen.
We're really excited to have her. All right, so Kristen, you're welcome to go off screen if you want. Thank you so much for being here.
And welcome. Thank you. Yes.
All right, Susan, I think we have a quorum and we have everyone who's going to be here. So if you want to call the meeting to order, the broadcast has already started.
Thank you. All set, Ann? Ann, all set, hon? Okay.
I hope so. I'm really sorry if there are any interruptions, everybody.
It's okay. All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And I'd like to welcome you to the Zoning Board of Appeals for Wednesday, June the 14th, 2023 for the city of Somerville. Pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, this meeting of the Somerville Zoning Board of Appeals is being conducted via remote participation. A recording of these proceedings can be accessed at any time using the registration link at the top of this agenda. I'd also like to mention at this time that we do have a quorum this evening, and present on our board is Ann Fullerton, who will be our acting clerk this evening. We have Brian Cook and Zachary Zaremba, and I'm your clerk, I'm your chair, Susan Fontano. Welcome. Tonight under general business, we have approval of some minutes. Madam Clerk, would you please take care of the motion?
Yes, Madam Chair. I move to approve the minutes for March 15th, April 5th, and April 19th of 2023 of the Zoning Board of Appeals meetings.
At this time, I'd like to ask, yes, Emily?
I apologize for interrupting, Madam Chair. I wanted to ask if you wanted to see if there are any comments or.
I'm going to do that right now.
I apologize, I jumped the gun.
That's okay. All right. At this time, I want to ask the board if anybody has any comments, corrections, anything to make on these meetings. No, everybody's fine with that? Okay, and at that time, we'll go around and take the vote. Brian Cook,
I second the motion and vote yay.
thank you. Thank you very much, Brian. Zachary Zaremba?
Aye.
Hi. Aye, thank you. Ann Fullerton
Aye.
and Susan Fontano, aye. I'll let the record show that it was a unanimous approval on the minutes of the minutes mentioned. It was 4-0, thank you. Next is our public portion, and we have a case tonight. Would the clerk please open this for us, please? It's a new case.
Yes, Madam Chair. We are opening the case for 14 Clyde Street, P&Z 23-046 for Rajiv and Anupama Raman, who propose modifications to a non-conforming building type and the creation of a new non-conforming building type in the neighborhood residential district, which requires 2 hardship variances.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. Emily, are our applicants here?
Yes, Madam Clerk. I see Raj Raman present this evening. Raj, I am making you a panelist, so you should be able to come on screen with your camera, and you should be able, let me also make you a presenter so you can share your screen.
Okay, good. Good evening.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hello, good evening. Can you all hear us okay?
We can see and hear you beautifully. So for
Great,
the record, as we go forward tonight, everybody listening out there, whenever you speak, you must give your name because it's being recorded, okay? And that will help us out. So for the record, would you announce your names and tell us what you're going to do?
I'm Anu Raman. Hi, everyone. And this is my husband, Raj Raman. And I believe our architect, Mr. Patrick Reddig, is also joining us.
Mr. Reddick?
Today.
Madam Chair, this is Emily Hutchings. I see Mr. Reddig. I am making him a panelist as well.
Beautiful, thank you.
I'll go ahead and share my screen then.
Okay.
Could you let me know if you can see our screen, please?
Yes, we can. It's a picture of the
great.
house right now. Yep.
Yep.
So just to introduce ourselves, as I said, I'm Anu Raman. I've actually lived in this same neighborhood from 2000 to 2004 as a grad student, and then I was really excited to move back to this neighborhood that I really feel like is home with my husband in 2009, and we've lived in this house since then. We have 2 children, and both kids are in Somerville Public Schools. They go to John F. Kennedy School, which is one of our neighborhood schools, and it's just wonderful. They can walk to school every day, and a lot of their friends live in the neighborhood. They're getting more independent and can go to the park. We just really love the neighborhood, and we hope that we will be able to expand the space a little bit so that we can stay here and have enough space for everyone as they're getting bigger. And we're going to explain a little bit more about the project now.
Sure. But first, again, I'm Raj Raman. I also lived in Somerville back in the late 90s, early 2000s. Moved back here to start a family, as Anu said, in 2009. A local artist. I split that with some web design and development. Heavily volunteer for Open Studios, Arts Council, coach youth soccer. So we're heavily embedded in this community. And it's nice to meet you all. Thank you all for having us. I can dive right into a little bit of background on the project. This is 14 Clyde, as you can see on the screen. It's a freestanding condo. It was built in 1870, and it is less than 1,100 square feet. That's what we're packed into. In 2000, a developer bought the house and placed 2 units behind it, along with 3 garages. And I can show other pictures of that in a bit. But basically, when the developer did that, they left a 5.5-foot gap between our house and the remaining structures. So there's currently 2 slightly separated buildings on the property. We are the 4th owner since it was condoized in 2000. We've been here the longest, 14 years now. And, one of our hopes is to make this condo a bit more livable for families and cut over the turnover on the unit. The house is officially a 3-bedroom, but it's more like a 2.5 bedroom. There's 2 standard size bedrooms and 1 smaller bedroom, but with our kids, opposite genders at ages 8 and 10, our hope is to not have them share a room and have them have separate rooms. That's also why we're here. The office, the smaller bedroom that's currently used as an office, we want to use as a bedroom. So with this project, what we're proposing is turning a garage that is deeded to us, that's 5.5 feet behind our house, into a den/office area, and that would free up the office that we're using for a bedroom. And it would also give the kids some space to play in. I've been working from home since pre-pandemic, since 2010, actually. So yeah, that home office is important to us. We did consider, as I said in our pre-assessment meeting, just turning the garage into a den like we've seen other people in the neighborhood do. But because the office is a separate structure, that raised like some safety concerns, meaning that if it was, not actually connected to our unit, I guess we could set up an intercom system, etc., but it just wouldn't feel like home. It wouldn't feel connected to the rest of our unit. So that's why we are proposing basically building a small 5.5-foot connector that we're considering sort of like the minimum relief required for this project to connect our unit to the garage so that we can connect them with the stairwell and turn that garage into the office den that we'd like. You can see in the photo that in this photo to the left, there was a similar project back in 2017. That's 8 through 12 Clyde Street, the greenish building. Similar project, except that the developer in that project did connect all 3 units together. That was very similar to ours in that house was also an 1870s house that the developer fixed up and added garages and units behind us. If you're familiar with the neighborhood, these were long workers' cottages for a factory down the street that I heard that there would be vegetable gardens in the back, but now there are condos. So we started this process about 1.5 years ago. We approached our neighbors about moving forward with this, and they were on board. We did all the right things. We talked to a lawyer that represented the association, and they drafted an amendment that basically gave each of our units whole control over our garages. That amendment went to land court last summer and was approved then. And we've worked with an architect who put together drawings that have been approved by the rest of our neighbors, the other 2 owners in our association. And everyone has signed off on this, and that's why we're here. No one in our association uses their garages for car storage. We all have 1 car, and there actually is a carport in the back. And we've been a 1-car family for the past 8 years. We're very multimodal, walk, bike everywhere. This conversion that we're proposing won't change the appearance of the house in any way from the street. We consider ourselves like the steward of this old 1870s house, and we've cared for it. I can share with you some other photos, sort of wide lens photos, to give you a sense of the structure, the current structure of the condo association. And then we can dive into a review of the architect plans that we've submitted. And our architect, Patrick, is here. I can certainly give like a high-level overview, but any technical questions or to correct any mistakes I may make, he's here for anything you want to toss his way. So as you can see, there's our house with which is the original structure on the front of the property. The developer back in 2000 added this second connected structure behind it, which is a selectless collection of garages and units that go all the way back along this long lot. And then there in the back is our little carport. We share this driveway with the condo association next door. Any questions before we dive right into the plans?
No. Anybody have a question? No, we're good. Thank you. Continue, please.
Sure. So these are the plans that Patrick's put together. So this is close-up photos of the existing property. You can see there's our house. There is that's the 5.5-foot gap between our house and the garage. There's a little staircase and landing, goes down to a backyard and goes to the driveway. Again, this is a rendering of the current state of things. Something I'll mention later is that we have a dining room and a small bathroom, and this is our kitchen that has a bay window. The reason why I mention that is because you'll see some skylights in our rendering, and the reason for those skylights is to allow the same light into our kitchen that we have currently. So this is I guess an aerial view of the proposal. Again, we're asking for the minimum relief here. We're basically just asking for new construction that would bridge that 5.5-foot gap and allow us to connect the house to the garage with a few skylights on top. Here's an interior view. You can see that from the current dining room, we would like inside that connector, we would like a staircase, a small staircase that would go down into this office den space. Reason for that is that these old houses were built with fieldstone foundation high, so that's why there's a staircase down to the garage. The house actually sits pretty high up on a foundation as its original foundation. Within the new construction part, the connector space, we would also like some unconditioned storage space. This is like as I just said, this is unconditioned. It has an exterior door to the driveway, and we could walk into that, and this would be storage for bicycles and things like that. The skylights that I'd mentioned earlier are right here in the drawing, and they kind of, if you can picture these areas as they are basically new benches that we'd like to put in our kitchen, and behind the benches, like behind where your head would be if you were sitting in the benches, would be sort of a little, what we're calling like a little skylight box, kind of dead space to sort of bridge the gap, put some plants back there, whatnot, but just basically just space to sort of bridge the gap. Something that might not be clear in this drawing is that elevated skybox area goes over the doorway that a person would walk through from the driveway to kind of go underneath that and go into the storage area. So a little bit hard to see from this cutaway, but that's how this comes together. Within the office den area, it's 200 odd square feet, so pretty basic. We just have a little room divider, little office nook with a little den / play area. We do plan on using a efficient mini split, possibly getting solar panels in the future, but yeah, we're going with an efficient heating cooling system. So that's the cutaway. This is a sort of a exterior rendering from both sides. This view is from our current backyard, small backyard that already has a back door into the garage. That's going to remain. This is obviously the new construction portion, the connector with a window. This window would face into the stairwell area that you saw in an earlier drawing. This is the view from the driveway side. You see that there's a storage area access door. This is a little window that peeks into the kitchen, that little skylight area that I spoke of earlier. And here's where the current garage door is, replaced by just an array of windows. And this right here is the existing garage of number 16 Clyde, our neighbor. Here's a side view cutaway, kind of showing you a bit more, how that sky light box area would work that I described, with the doorway underneath it into the storage area. You can clearly see here what I was talking about earlier with the elevated fieldstone foundation. That's why our kitchen is so high and the garage is down to ground level. And from the other side, and note these aren't connected. This is a west and an east drawing. They're separate drawings on one page. But this is a view from the other side with the staircase and the skylight area. And that's all the documents we have for the plan. Patrick, anything you wanted to add?
Hi there. Am I active now? Wasn't sure if. There we go. I'm Patrick Reddig. I'm the architect working with Raj and Anu. I think Raj, you've done a really great job of explaining it, item by item and drawing by drawing. I'd be happy to answer any questions if the board has any.
Okay, thank you so much. At this point, I'd like to open it up to the public to find out, is there anybody from the public here that would like to weigh in and have any questions for us?
Madam
Emily?
Chair, this is Planner Emily Hutchings. If I may, to members of the public, if you would like to provide a comment, please raise your hand and I can unmute you. Madam Chair, I do not see any raised hands. Oh, I take that back. I do see one raised hand at this time. I have unmuted Meredith Porter. Mr. Porter, you should be able to unmute yourself and speak.
Thank you. Meredith Porter,
evening.
104 Josephine Avenue. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can, Mr. Porter. Welcome.
Okay. This seems to me to be a very well thought through project. I have met Raj before too. He's a great member of the community. And this will preserve the existing structure very nicely and enhance its use for Raj and family. And I'm totally in support of it. The only thing that I will add, and this is no fault to Raj, I just observed, and this is a general thing really, that the zoning ordinance does require that notices be posted at sites, and I don't think anyone has been doing this thus far. I wish the planning department would point this out to applicants because I think they're probably unaware that they're supposed to do that. But that's no reflection on Raj at all. Seems really good to me, and I hope you approve it. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Anybody else?
Madam Chair, this is Emily Hutchings. I do not see any other raised hands at this time.
Okay, I think we'll leave it open for a few minutes while we open it up to the board. And then if anybody joins in, we can give them that opportunity. If not, we'll close the public portion at that time. So without further ado, I'd like to open it up to the board for your comments to the applicant and or the architect. Does anybody have a comment to make? No. Ann Fullerton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is probably a question for Mr. Reddig. Mr. Rahman mentioned several times that the storage area would be untempered. Is there a reason for that? Is it because of FAR, or is that purely a choice based on use?
I believe that was a choice just based on use. I believe they have some items that, would typically might be stored in, say, an unconditioned garage that they feel like an unconditioned storage area would be a good place to store those items, things like bikes potentially. So I think that's it's just essentially a choice based on use. I think in addition, it makes it slightly easier to build. We don't have to worry about insulating the slab and that kind of thing.
And is there a interior connection to the storage area? The plan cut was a little hard to read. It looked like there was a door maybe from the family room side, but could you confirm that?
Yes, that is correct. Our most recent, and I'm just confirming that in my most current model here. Yeah, our most recent revision of the plans did include a door that could access the storage room from the family room, and you're seeing that there. Right next to the partition that separates the family room from the office with an in-swing door there.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Ann. So that opening, this is Susan, that opening from the family room goes right out to the storage room, and then they go right outside from there. They wanted to.
They could, that's correct. They could go
Another
through the
egress,
doors.
which is good.
Right, and there's also another egress. As you directly as you come down the stairs from the dining room, you can take a left there, directly out into the backyard. So yeah, there's a number of ways to get out if needed.
Great, thank you. Anyone else have any questions? Brian Cook, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you to Emily and staff, could you just review again why there's 2 hardship variances required?
This is Emily Hutchings, Senior Planner. Yes, thank you. So this application involves the modification of an existing non-conforming building. The principal building in the rear of the site is an existing non-conforming building. It's not permitted by right in the neighborhood residential district, but it is pre-existing and it was constructed by right in the previous zoning. So modification of that requires a hardship variance. And by connecting the 2 buildings, it effectively creates a new non-conforming building type, which requires a separate hardship variance.
Okay, so just to make sure I understand. So hardship variance 1 is changes to an existing non-conforming building. Hardship variance 2 is creating a new total single building that's non-conforming.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. Oh, wait, Matt, just add another question, please, through the chair.
Yes, definitely, Brian, go right ahead.
So again, for Emily, do we need findings on the 3 required conditions for each of the hardship variances? Or can they be combined into one set of conditions? I mean, set of statements about meeting the required conditions.
That is a very good point. I believe it requires a motion and findings for each. Acting Clerk Fullerton, I apologize. This is an additional motion than what I told you previously. But just for the record, I do believe that the 2 motions and the 2 sets of findings are required.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Brian. I don't have any questions. The presentation was wonderful. And it was this year and a half of planning ahead shows. Thank you so much for doing that. I guess, Zach, are you all set too?
I have no further questions.
Beautiful. So at this time, if the board has nothing further, I'm going to go back to the public portion. Yes, Ann Fullerton, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd just like to discuss as a board team the conditions for these two special permits, or these two variances, sorry, hardship variances. Because I think that they are, like most hardship variances, have a very, very specific characteristic for each one that would potentially make them make it viable as a hardship. So I would like to get the rest of the board members' thoughts on the three conditions that we have to prove out. The first condition being the existing soil conditions, shape, or topography of the parcel, or the unusual character of an existing structure. I think that in this case, it is the unusual character of the two existing structures that is condition one, being that there are two primary structures on this parcel. And does anybody else have anything additive for that condition?
Through the chair, to Member Fullerton, I mean, you could add that the original structure was never connected to the additional non-conforming structure. So there are two unusual characteristics. One is the existing structure behind the original structure and how it was built and non-conforming, and then the absence of a connection between the two.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you. Continue, Ann.
So consideration number two is literal enforcement of the provision for the district would involve substantial hardship, either financial or otherwise, to the petitioner. So I think that the issue here is they don't have a lot of options for how they can modify their parcel. They're very limited. That is the hardship. They can't, because the other property exists, the other second primary property exists, they have limited ability to modify their parcel. But I would like to hear any arguments from anybody else that is in attendance for this condition.
Well, if we're talking about the hardship variance one, which is making a change to the existing non-conforming structure, which is the rear structure, I'm not sure how to articulate that.
Well, it seems like the hardship there is that they basically are deeded property in two primary structures, two separate primary structures.
Right.
So
Right.
the oddity that we're referring to as a hardship is that they straddle their deeded property straddles structures.
Right. And the existing non-conforming rear structure includes their garage. So I think I'm saying something similar to what you're saying. Wait.
If Mr. and Mrs. Brumman or Mr. Rettig have a clearer path for us on this one, please speak up. These are 3 points that we absolutely have to prove out to be able to find for hardship variance.
Yep. And just to clarify, this second point that we are discussing is about it's about sort of whether it's sort of financially feasible or that we're blocked by the feasibility of it. Is that what we're discussing?
Correct.
Yes.
Yep. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of nonconformities here. Not only, I guess, is the existing structure that was built in 2000, which was built modularly, actually, has some nonconformities in it, but the structure itself, meaning the 1870s house, is also non-conforming. And yeah, this is one where I struggled to sort of, I guess, fit it into the template. The only thing that I could think of is that the house actually is near the street front, and that I think breaks some zoning rules, is kind of grandfathered in. And so, if technically, I guess if the only other way to rectify this and move it back right up against the garage would be obviously to move the entire structure, which would be obviously a huge hardship. So the connector basically is our way to not have to do that, which is not very feasible.
Well, I think, if I may, Madam Chair,
Continue.
I think Mr. Rahman's early point in his presentation that relates to the rear non-conforming structure is if they want to be able to access their garage as useful space other than as storage for a car, then they need to access it from the house. And they considered whether they could just have a passageway without connecting the buildings. And that was not feasible
No.
because it's not safe. It's inconvenience doesn't matter, but it's not safe. Communications is poor. So it creates a hardship because of the rear non-conforming structure not being connected. Giving them no safe access except for going
Right.
outside to the portion that's in the rear structure that belongs to them.
All right, good point, Brian. Thank you. So we have 1 and 2. And number 3.
Yes, Madam Chair. Number 3 is desirable relief could be granted without causing substantial detriment to the public good and without nullifying or substantially degrading from the intent and purpose of the NR district in the ordinance or the ordinance in general. And I don't believe that any of us feel that this would substantially alter or substantially impact the guidelines of the ordinance negatively. And I think that what we've heard is that there is neighborhood support. While we haven't heard that directly from neighbors, we haven't heard that there is not support from neighbors.
Is it okay if I speak, Madam Chair?
Absolutely. Just say your name, please, again for the record.
I'm Anu Rahman. We did have some neighbors, our neighbors write letters in. I believe they were received too late to be included, but I don't know if they can be read out. They were emailed to the planning at somervillemass.gov.
Emily, are you aware of receiving anything?
Madam Chair, this is Emily Hutchings. Yes, so we did receive some public comments to planning at somervillema.gov. Unfortunately, they were submitted after the deadline for public comments per the Zoning Board of Appeals Rules of Policy and Procedure. At your discretion, you can determine if the applicant can read those into the record now. That is at your discretion.
Okay, thank you. Let me ask, how many did you receive? How many letters that you sent to us?
No,
This-
she's asking me.
Okay, yep, sorry.
Madam Chair, this is Emily Hutchings. I apologize. I do not have that information as if they are sent after the fact. They're not submitted to the board. variance. So I would
Okay.
defer to the applicant on that.
Thank you. So Mrs. Rahman, how many
Yes.
did you get?
I believe there were 3 that were submitted.
And who are they?
The 3 people are our immediate neighbors, so whose home you see right there, number 16 Clyde, Marilyn Sager, and Brad Bortner.
Mhm.
We also got a letter from number 18 Clyde, Dave and Anjali Wara. And we also got a letter from Dia Warren, who is in number 20, and they share our driveway. They're part of another condo association that shares our driveway, which is the gray on the right.
Okay, great. No, that's fine. Thank you.
Mhm.
And did you contact your councilwoman at all? Have you spoken to
We
your
did not.
counselor? No, okay.
We
that's
did
fine.
not contact our Ward 5 counselor, no.
Mhm. All right. Well, variances are very difficult, and we like to give it a lot of thought. And I personally went through all your papers. It seems like you really tried to do the right thing. So one final thing on the public portion here. So we've got the letters, and we had one person speak already. So I'm going to ask Emily to please double check. Yes, Meredith Porter spoke. I'm going to ask Emily to please just double check that we didn't leave anybody out.
Madam Chair, I do not see, this is Emily Hutchings. I do not see anyone else's hand raised. I will note that Meredith Porter's hand is still raised. I'm not certain if that is due to technical error or if he would like to speak again.
Mr. Porter, are you all set for tonight? I would think so. Okay,
And Mr. Porter is just self-muted on his end.
okay. Shall I proceed? Okay. All right, at this time, we're going to close the public portion, and I'm going to turn to the board for any final comments. If not, we seem to be in agreement of this project, we'll move forward with a motion. At this time, raise your hand, board members, if anybody has any final comment or question. Seeing none, I'll move to my next one. Yes, Brian.
I'm sorry, Madam Chair. Just for hardship variance number 1, the changes that would be made to the rear non-conforming structure will make no difference to what the general public would see from the street.
Right.
So I don't see why there would be, I mean, it seems like it can be granted without substantial detriment to the public good, without nullifying or derogating the intent and purpose of the NR district, because nothing's going to change that anybody would notice in terms of the rear structure. And you have support, even though we can't read them into the record, from at least one other member of the condo association.
So saying that goes to our discussion and to the minutes for when we make our motion that we refer to what was covered here. Is that what I understand? Emily, are we doing this right? Make sure
Yes,
all
ma'am.
our lines are dotted.
Yes, Madam Chair. And to clarify, the findings can be the same or very similar. It would just, each hardship variance requires separate findings and a
Right.
separate.
Beautiful. Okay. So without further ado, I'm going to close the portion for the board, and I'm going to ask our acting clerk this evening, Ann Fullerton, to make a motion regarding Clyde Street.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to approve the requested hardship variances for 14 Clyde Street, P&Z 23-046, to modify a non-conforming building type. This is A. This is
Yes.
variance A. Modify a non-conforming building type in the NR zoning district with, we don't have any conditions that we've applied to it, but Emily, do you want us to specifically note our findings?
Yes, thank you.
1 minute,
Madam
Zach.
Clerk. I do note there are two proposed
Two
conditions
Conditions.
that just relate to recording the decision.
Okay.
And submitting that
All
recorded
right.
decision. So, I would just suggest that the motion include incorporating the conditions proposed in the staff memo dated May 31st, 2023.
Right.
Okay.
There are the two. Regarding the decision must be recorded with the Middlesex South Register of Deeds. And public record number 2 is a copy of the recorded decision stamped by the Middlesex South Registry of Deeds must be submitted to the Planning, Preservation, and Zoning Division of the public record. That's correct. Those were the two. Correct, Emily? Anything else? No. Zach, you had your hand up. Was that in reference to this?
Yes, Madam Chair, I was going to suggest that we approve with those two conditions.
Thank you so much, Zach. I saw your hand went right up. Okay, so without further ado, may I have a motion from the board for the vote? Okay, I'll make it. I'll make it. I make a motion. Clerk, Madam Clerk, would you please take care of that?
Yes, absolutely, Madam Chair. I make a motion to approve the requested hardship variances for 14 Clyde Street, P&Z 23046, to modify a non-conforming building type in the NR zoning district with the conditions included in the staff memo for the subject property dated May 31st, 2023.
Okay. And excuse me, in between this, I just want to make sure, because I cut you off, I thought, Emily, does Ann have to announce the three criteria at this moment?
I think it's sufficient to state with the findings as determined by the zoning board.
Okay, thank you. So may I have a second on the motion?
Second.
Brian Cook has a second. I'll go around, yay or nay. Brian Cook, in the matter of 14 Clyde Street, P&Z 23-046.
Yeah.
What do you vote? Yay. Zachary Zaremba?
Yay.
Yay. Ann Fullerton
Yay.
and Susan Fontano, yay. Let the record show that all 4 voting members voted in the affirmative and that the motion carries. That's on the first, that's going to be on our first variance. We'll do this again on the second. May I please from the clerk have a motion?
Yes, ma'am, Madam Chair. I move to approve the requested hardship variance for 14 Clyde Street, P&Z 23-046 to modify, to create a new non-conforming building type in the NR zoning district. And this motion is to include the staff memo conditions for the subject property dated May 31st, 2023. And conditions findings are as noted during the board's discussion.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Do I have a second, please, on the motion?
Second.
Brian, second the motion. On the approval, we'll go around again. Brian Cook,
Yay.
Zachary Zaremba,
Yay.
Ann Fullerton,
Yay.
and Susan Fontano, yay. Let the record show on the second variance, it's unanimous again, all voting in the affirmative. Thank you very much. Congratulations to the Ramans. Good planning. Good luck and enjoy your extra space for your family. Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Patrick, for being here too.
Thank you. Okay, and I don't believe there's any other business tonight on the agenda. Unless somebody has something to say. Anybody? No? Okay, so that's it. May I have a motion to close the meeting?
Absolutely, Madam Chair. I make a motion to close this zoning board meeting for June 14th, 2023.
Second,
Seconded by Brian Cook. All in favor? Brian Cook,
aye.
Zachary Zaremba,
Aye.
Ann Fullerton,
Aye.
and Susan Fontano, aye. Unanimous to adjourn the meeting. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night and enjoy tomorrow.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Ann Fullerton, for filling in for us. Good job.
Very good.